After discovering the world of 20th century composers, Emerico began exploring other new artist movements that were springing up around Europe. One that caught his eye was the Dadaism movement started in Zurich, Switzerland.
The Dada movement was started in the wake of World War I. These were artists who felt that imperial bourgeois nationalism resulted in bloodshed. And so they responded by breaking artistic norms that they saw as set by imperialist bourgeoisie nationalists. What became of it was known as anti-art. Emerico could relate to these ideas as he had similar feelings to these artists during the war. An offshoot of the Dadaism movement was the Surrealist movement, established in the early 20s by a French psychologist, Jean Bertrand. The manifesto described it as pure psychic automatism, by which one proposes to express the real function of thought. Dictation in the absence of all control exercised by reason, outside of all aesthetic and moral preoccupation.
After seeing the American painter Man Ray's film, Imak Bakya, Emerico went out and bought a 16mm camera and began shooting his own movies.
Luckily for him, there was an accomplished Spanish filmmaker that Ernesto knew, Estanislao Basora, who had just finished his second film in France. He saw the amount of enthusiasm, heard some of Emerico's ideas, and decided to show him how to develop and manipulate film. As far as for operating a camera, he was a natural. New ideas of what to shoot, how to shoot it, and experimenting with new methods were constantly fluttering within his mind.
He began immediately working on his first project. He decided to just experiment with shooting different customers that would come into his store. He also liked filming Lise posing around the city. He always said that Lise was the most beautiful and perfect woman he had ever had the privilege of having on film. He projected the premiere at the shop, Dias de Lluvias las Mujeres, or Rainy Day Woman. Many of the customers who appeared in the film came, bringing their friends and families to watch.
To everyone's surprise, it was actually very well put together. He played the record that had first perked his interest in the area, Lise's The Rite of Spring, on vinyl. The audience was so impressed that they were anxious to see the new film that Emerico had been working on. At the premiere of the second film, Caminando a lo Largo, or Walking Alone, which he shot while on a trip to Madrid to see his parents, he played Arnold Schoenberg's String Quartet No. 3, Opus 30. Schoenberg wrote this piece in 1927, using a newly created system of 12-tone music. The piece experimented with natural patterns, quick cuts, reversing film, and lights in an otherwise dark setting.
His showing and films were getting more and more popular every time. In the late 1930s, he was approached by the American composer George Antheil to create a film to go with his new piece. The composition featured 5-player pianos, a xylophone, and an assortment of other noisemakers, including a siren.
Antheil was by no means a world-famous composer, but he had made a name for himself within the Futurism movement in Italy. Emerico was caught off guard by this request, but obviously he instantly agreed. This was the first time anyone had actually offered him money for one of his films. Eine Frau in Paris, or A Woman in Paris, was an 8-minute shot and edited in Paris with Antheil sitting by his side composing. Taking advantage of this possibility to become recognized, Emerico took the project very seriously. He spent 3 days looking for the perfect woman, a woman who reminded him of his beloved Liège. Finally, after finding one, he filmed her for 3 hours through bits of paper, metal, glasses, reflections on mirrors, experimenting with lighting and focus.
While in Paris, he had the opportunity to see the famous 1927 silent French film Napoleon, directed by Abel Gance. The final reel of the film is shown on 3 separate projectors. Emerico thought this was the greatest idea he'd ever seen. His eyes were instantly noticing similarities between the different images, constantly drawing connections. After discussing it with Anthel, the two agreed to give this method a try. The final film was aired on 2 projectors in Paris during the intermission of the Ballet Suédois at the Théâtre des Champs-Élysées. Anthel aired several years later in New York City, but Emerico didn't come. The audience was stunned. The two had created one of the most successful surrealist films of the time. The film today is sometimes referenced in film classes when discussing the surrealist movement or the concept of multi-channel filmmaking.